Hey everybody, Whitebow Knives here. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Alright, so shooting traditional is kind of just a fun sidebar that I like to do. So don't worry, the knife videos won't stop. I'll be making more of those, but I like to branch out a little bit and kind of show you guys my other interests and just kind of have some fun. So let's check it out. Alright guys, so today I wanted to introduce you to the world of traditional archery. And I figured I'd just start making a video series on this because it's something I'm fairly knowledgeable in, and I just wanted to share my knowledge of the sport with you guys and hopefully teach you a few things about how to shoot and what to do. And I'd like to create some more videos going into detail on things to improve your shooting and things like that. So we're going to take a little bit of a break from the knives, and I'm going to show you a couple things about traditional archery. On my traditional bow today, I'm going to show you how to instinctively shoot. And instinctive shooting uses no sights or any system on your bow. You just look at the target and release an arrow. So when I'm pulling back, I don't aim or anything. I look at the target and use my peripheral vision to actually sight the arrow in. Your peripherals is your sighting system, and you don't have to. Some guys disagree with this, but I don't think you really have to stare at your target for a very long time. You don't have to burn a hole in the target with your eyes. I just look at the target, pull back, anchor, and release. So I don't really agree with that scenario. If you're using your peripherals as a sighting system, your brain will calculate it every time. One thing to get used to, though, over time is your yardages. If I'm shooting at 10 yards, my brain needs to get used to that yardage. If I go back to 20 yards, my brain needs to get used to that yardage, and so on. So you can be shooting at 5 yards. You could shoot at 20 yards all day and do really, really well, and then go up to 5 yards, and if you've never shot that yardage before, you're going to shoot the arrow very high from the point of the target that you're shooting at. Right here we have a Martin Jaguar 45-pound takedown bow. I'm shooting carbon arrows with feathers, and I got a target down there that's a hay bale. We're just shooting into that, and kind of just wanted to explain to you guys how to shoot. So I'm a right-handed shooter myself, so I'm going to be holding the bow with my left hand and pulling the string with my right hand. Just a real safety precaution here. Never, ever, ever dry fire a bow. And that means when you are pulling back a bow with no arrow in it and you let it go, you have a chance of breaking your bow or injuring yourself. It's just all kinds of nasty things can happen. So do not dry fire your bow. So, okay, we're just going to shoot an arrow. I click the arrow onto my string with these knocks. I have a whisker biscuit, so I'm shooting out of this, not the shelf. Now, when you pull back your string, you want to pull back and hit to your anchor. My anchor is right at my lip, so when I'm pulling back, I touch my forefinger right at my lip, and that will be consistent every single time that I shoot. So you don't want to change your anchor point all the time, unless you find one that's like super uncomfortable and you need to change it. But I like to shoot at the lip. That works pretty good for me. So I'm going to pull back and anchor and then release. And there we have center shot right on the target. Another thing that I like to do when I shoot is a lot of people get up and they're like, okay, it's all about form, it's all about form, and they get up here and they'll just put their arm as straight as they can and shoot it, and then what happens, they hit their arm with their string. Because see, if you're shooting like this, your string is going to hit your forearm, but if you point your elbow outwards, if you can tell the difference, I got a coat on, I'll take it off here in a second, but if you point your elbow outwards, your bow arm acts as a stabilizer. So I don't even need a stabilizer on the front of my bow because my arm is already doing the job. To me, it's a waste of money in the world of traditional shooting the way I'm shooting now. can obviously get a good shot off without one, so I think it's unnecessary. But yeah, I might get beef for that later. I don't know. I don't care. So that's another thing you need to consider, is holding your elbow out and don't lock it, so that way you have a stabilizer. Alright, and now just shoot again. There's another good shot. We're shooting about 10 yards right now, so this isn't nothing too crazy, but in most hunting situations, you're going to want to take a deer at about 10 yards, or maybe a little bit more or a little less. Could be right underneath you. But another thing that I want to talk about is your string hand, and why it's important to hold it in a certain way. You want to hold it with the pads of your fingers, not the creases. And that's because if you pull and you curl and you're shooting off a shelf like this, I'm shooting out of a whisker biscuit, so it doesn't matter, but it'll actually affect the outcome of the shot. So if you hold your bow like this and then release like that, cleanly, smoothly, that's going to be your biggest thing. But if you pull back and twist, just like so, you're going to put energy in your string as a twisting motion, and then it'll unravel when you shoot and do something funky with the arrow, especially if you're off the shelf. If you're on a shooting off of a shelf, and you do that, your arrow will fall off. So you want to just put your hands on there, on that string, and pull back, and not curl your fingers. That's a big important thing. I'm just going to shoot one more time so you guys can see that. Alright, another pretty good shot. I'll bring the camera up there so you can see my grouping later. And another thing I recommend is only shooting 3 arrows at a time, because if you shoot more than that, you have greater risk of damaging your arrows or losing them, especially if you're first starting out. If you're starting to shoot like 12 arrows at a time, you start to lose track. If you shoot 3, you go and find 3. It's pretty easy. You know, I have more arrows in my quiver, but I usually never take out more than 5 arrows at a time. I don't see the point in it. I don't want to damage my arrows or anything, so I only shoot 3 at a time. So we'll walk up here and show you our shot placement. And so that last one could have been better, but not a bad group. The first 2 were on pretty nice. So just to show you guys that I can actually shoot an arrow or 2. So we're gonna go back to our shooting station and shoot some more. Okay guys, another thing I want to talk about is your stance. And I like to keep a fairly open stance. And it's about your feet shoulder width apart, and you know, you can kind of keep your body at a 45 degree to the target. So you want to face your body 45 degrees away from the target, and then you're going to look at the target and shoot. So and stance, I think, is whatever's comfortable for you. This just happens to be mine. So I just take that 45 degrees and face the target and then shoot. Okay guys, just wanted to show you that bout of shots that I just flung out. It's 5 shots, and I want to show you something. This is a pretty good representation of you messing up what you're doing or something. These 3 arrows in the middle are actually good shots. It's just that your brain has to take over when shooting traditional, or well, when shooting instinctive. That is just yardage. On the side arrows, that's something that I did. I messed those up in some way. My release was off or something. So if you shoot in a line of the point that you're aiming at, that is what you want to go for. You want that all the time. So if you're shooting in line, you're in good shape. But if you're shooting outside of the line, and it happens. You know, sometimes something goes wrong and you fling an arrow to the side. That's okay. If you're shooting in line, you know you're on the right track. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you another angle of me shooting. Well, there we go. 3 good shots and 2 somewhat flyers. But for the most part, pretty decent grouping. Alright, now I wanted to get a close-up angle so you can kind of get a better idea. Grip, grip, anchor, release. Grip, grip, anchor, release. Alright, now we come back a little bit in yardage. It's about 15 yards. We're gonna try to hit the target again. Okay guys, there you can see we have 3 arrows that are actually alright. Then I had 2 flyers, so I think they were just bad releases on those. Alright guys, now we're back at about, I'd say 20 yards, 20 to 25 yards. And we're going to try to hit the target. Shooting low, but your brain will automatically adjust for the yardage. Alright, so that's some 25-yard shooting, and it's back pretty far. So you can definitely get used to this over time. In my last shot, I actually hit the bullseye. So I only really recommend this when you really get good at shooting up closer. This is kind of just for fun. Would I take a shot on a deer this far? Maybe after I've practiced up a little bit more. So, but I'll bring you up to the group and show you. Alright, so there we had 1, 2, 3, 4 really bad shots and 1 good shot. So, need to practice up at that yardage, but almost there. Alright guys, so that's about it. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of how to shoot instinctive archery. I'll go into some more detail later on a perfect release and the grip on your bow, things like that. Just I'll make some more videos and go into better detail of that. But this will get you started and get you out there shooting traditional archery. Alright, thanks for watching guys.